it's interesting that you like knew about this before like it really blew up into this massive thing, because I know that some of the people who are against Gamergate say that look, before Gamergate, when you had this conspiracy drama going on, like there was like also like some people did care about ethics and cared about like the legitimate controversies, but there were also people who were just like trying to farm drama views off of this, and like also just kind of some people were like probably were like legit harassers on like the 4chan IRC and stuff.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. No doubt about that. Well, I mean, I've kind of been on 4chan on and off since the early 2010s. Actually, no, earlier than that. I remember going to 4chan in like 2007. So, yeah.
Well, what's it like being a part of that Chan culture?
I saw some shit that I still wish I had never seen. um, the anonymity definitely made people a lot more willing to say things that they wouldn't normally say. Um, but at the same time, just it's and it's. I'm trying to think of a way to say this where it won't be misconstrued because there have been some god awful communities that have come from 4chan. But there's been some good ones too, I think. Rallying for good causes like with the whole fine young capitalist thing. That was one of the instances where a bunch of people who they didn't have to worry about, their girlfriend or boyfriend or whatever seeing their posts and putting it back to them. They could just go, hey, you know what? Fuck this.
Well, it's interesting you talk about like the good, because like some people would say that Gamergate was part of the bad that came out of 4chan. Though obviously it wasn't just 4chan involved; it was a bunch of different communities. But
No. I mean, we got banned off of 4chan, so. Which,
well,
I found that was hilarious when that happened.
why do you think you got banned from 4chan? The Gamergate discussion.
Mm, I mean, there are so many theories out there. As far as a definite, no idea. Um, I think it could be because 4chan already had such a negative view in the eyes of the public that Moot was just like, okay, I don't need another shit show over here. So I think that might have had something to do with it. I could be completely wrong, but that's just me. That's just my theory. I don't know. I know there were people going around going, oh, he's, dating some anti-gamer or whatever. He's in with that crowd. I don't know, honestly. There could be 1,000 different reasons why he decided to ban Gamergate, but regardless of reason, he did. That's just part of the history.
While we're still in like the sort of prehistory era, do you want to talk about how it seems like some of the YouTubers, and maybe this was because of the blog post itself that made the allegation about Mr. Grayson and Miss Quinn, um, but some of the YouTubers used this five guys, burgers and fries language to describe the situation. Do you think that was sexist?
I remember that. Yes and no. I say yes because, I mean, you have a lot of the viewpoint of, oh, if a chick sleeps with a bunch of guys, that makes her a slut or whatever. But if a guy sleeps with a bunch of chicks, they're like, yeah, go, dude. But at the same time, I've seen so many similar jokes made about guys. So, it could be it. mm,
Do you think that sort of slut shaming attitude was pretty prevalent in Gamergate, or was this a pretty fringe phenomenon?
I wouldn't say it's fringe. I'd be lying if I said I didn't see instances of slut shaming. My whole thing was I don't care how many guys she sleeps with. She can sleep with an entire football team for all I fucking care. What she does is her business. The fact that it seemed to influence people's opinion of the game, or more like the media coming out about the game, that was my issue. I don't care how many people she slept with personally. It's the fact that she seemed to use that to garner favorable reviews.
Well,
That's my problem.
no one reviewed her game though.
I saw a couple out there. Maybe not the big companies,
Not
but
Nathan
they,
Grayson
or
though.
maybe not the big guys, but no, but he mentioned her
Yeah, he promoted her
in a
game
positive
over
way.
49 other
Mm-hmm.
games. But
Mm-hmm.
Nathan Grayson did also have like a separate controversy with Robin or Not, where he reviewed Sound Self.
That sounds familiar, but it's been so fucking long.
It has indeed been almost a decade. A decade in
I
a
know I
decade in
was
like
in my
11
late
months.
20s. I was in my late 20s when Gamergate happened. I'm 37.
Yeah,
Holy
I
fuck, I
was in
feel
my early
old.
20s. I was a spring
Oh,
chicken, and now I'm 30 years old. I'm still
I was
talking
kind of
about
amazed to
this.
find. I was amazed to find a few people that were actually older than me. Like when Nurgle told me that he was a few years older than me, I was actually kind of surprised.
Yeah, we had a pretty diverse crowd. I mean, we had a
Yeah,
lot of
we
women
did.
involved. We had a lot of minorities involved. We had a lot of people of different age groups too. Like we had people who were like in high
Hmm.
school, and then we also had people who were 40,
I
50 years
remember
old.
that. I remember that. I was like, a kid, are you sure you know what you're talking about here? No offense, but I mean,
Well, yeah, there were
I don't
a couple of times where it's like, oh, this person's pro gamer gay. It's like, oh, they're 16 or 17. It's like, okay.
know. It's like, kid, you haven't lived life yet.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
Yeah.
hey, if you want to put your opinion out there, I think that's fine. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, I run like an adult only community now. I mean, not that I interacted with the kids back then either, um,
Right.
but yeah, it's very much when I run like an adult only type of space. Plus, it's politics where I'm operating now, so kids don't really usually care about that.
They really shouldn't. Honestly, I mean, I've kind of come to not care much for politics myself, but that's just me. Honestly, I never, even during Gamergate, I never really cared about the politics. I didn't care which side you were on, really. Like, hey, if you're willing to be cool and talk to me, I'm willing to be cool and talk to you. And that was an opinion that I've had even before the days of Gamergate. Is like I'm more than I actually love talking to people with a variety of different opinions, because even if I walk away from that conversation and my mind hasn't changed, I at least learned something, even if it's just what led you to believe the way you do. And I see that as a win personally.
Because this thing that we participated in, and we worked together quite a bit back then, but because of
Hmm.
this thing, it's like everyone has like there's no official end date to Gamergate, and maybe not even like an official start date. But like in the chat, someone is saying, to me, Gamergate ended in 2019, whereas like I felt like in like 2017 or I don't know when exactly, but like it seemed like I was like the last person to
2016
care
for
about
me, I
this.
think.
Like what happened in 2019?
2016 for me.
2015?
2016.
Oh, okay, yeah, 2016. I mean, I still talked about it a little bit after that, but like I was transitioning away towards like other stuff, like 2017ish.
Yeah, Nerdle Stream kind of stopped really talking a whole lot about Gamergate at that point.